never happened to me before.
That's all right. We are live, and we are only about 10 seconds later than anticipated, but that is okay, man. I was getting a little bit okay because you texted me like, I'll be there in 4 minutes. I'm like, okay, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. It's all good, my man. It's all good. How are you?
I'm good. I just started to tell you. I was ready to hop on 10 minutes early. And then the show that we were watching went just like a few minutes late. I was watching a show with my wife and my son right before he goes to bed. And then I was like, okay, I've only got a couple minutes. I need to go get on this right now. And I was like, bye guys, I'm leaving. And so I came and I sat down with my computer, turned it on. And right as I turned it on, there was no internet. And I was like, what in the world? And so, when you like click the Wi-Fi thing, you can see all the different signals. It's right there, but for some reason the password wasn't there. And I get onto my computer every day. The password always just automatically does that. So I like frantically ran over to where the router was, grabbed the password, came back. I was only 10 seconds late, and I got a 20-second story out of it. So right. How are you doing?
Makes for some great content to open up the episode. I'm doing good, man. I mean, just had a great episode with DJ Ski, Scott Keeney. The guy was a great guest. I gotta say, I totally enjoyed the episode. I guess you didn't catch any of it, I assume?
I listened to about half an hour of it. So yeah, between that and the other show that we were watching, I caught quite a bit. I caught, like, for example, some of your conversation about Target and, what you can do, some of his thoughts around what the hobby needs to do to support kids, and list some of his stuff on, the venture capital background and some of the people that they're working with, and then some of the investments, the Genement stuff. And so, yeah, it was all super interesting. And as usual, man, you keep getting these guests that are like crazy quality. You got to be feeling pretty good about yourself right now. There's basically nobody who will say no to Sports Cards Live at this point, which is pretty cool.
I mean, it's I got to tell you, like, yeah, I'm proud of the guests that I bring on the show for sure. That goes without saying. I'll say it. I'm very proud of the guests that I get. But with DJ Ski, the cool thing was that I didn't go reach out to him. Usually I'm reaching out to people, or I see them in the chat, or something works out that it just makes sense. But with him, he reached out to me unsolicited. He just, in my Instagram one day, I wake up, I look at you know how it works on Instagram. I look at my private messages on Instagram, and I'll show it. Why not? So this was back on April 21st. April 11:58 a.m. I get a message. It says, "Keep up the great work. Love what you are doing." And my response was, "Man, that's high praise coming from you. Appreciate you reaching out. If you'd like to be a guest on a future episode, please let me know. It would be an honor to have you." His response, it's hard to see. "Def, man, let's do it." Okay, game on. So
that's awesome. Well, I mean, you like I said, you can kind of think through the people at this point who are important people in the hobby, and I shouldn't say important, because everybody in the hobby has their place, right? You don't have to be like a venture capitalist involved in cardboard, or a manufacturer of cards, or the leader of a consignment shop or something like that to be important in the hobby. But it does seem like at this point you basically interviewed all of the people who are most known and or card famous, as you sometimes say. So it's a credit to, like I heard I heard a few of the accolades that he was dropping on you at the end of the show. I hope you feel that, man. I hope you feel both like humbled knowing that you got a long way to go, maybe to reach all the goals that you've set for yourself, but also at the same time, like, you've done some awesome things and you've created something here that's really special, and I'm really grateful I get to be part of it.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. I'm just along for the ride, like everybody else who's watching. Really, I mean, I didn't plan any of this. It's just been completely organic from the beginning. So, and I'm glad to have guys like you that are willing to come on. I mean, you're a very popular, partner to come on with me. So I appreciate you and everyone else who's want to come on. I just talked to Dr. Beckett again. He's going to come on the last, I guess it's the 24th of July, right before the National. So I mean, that it's great to have people that are active in the hobby, people that are ambassadors of the hobby, people that care about the hobby, new, old, and by new, old, I mean newer into it, the veterans. It's just great to have people that want to come on and take part, be along for the ride with me. So I'm very thankful for that, for sure.
When did you say Dr. Beckett will be on?
July 24th. It's the Saturday before the National.
Are you that far out? You've planned that far ahead?
Pretty much, man. I mean, with him, I think I offered him. What did I offer him? No, I have every other Saturday in July available still. So not available, but unscheduled. I have put a few invitations out there. So a couple of those could the 3rd, 10th, and 17th. But I'm booked right through the end of June, and then July 24th. So those 3 in July, there's a few that have been put out there to some people that I'm just waiting for them to kind of pick one and get back. It's far out, right? I've even offered somebody into August. So it's just hard to plan out that far, but eventually we'll fill it in.
I think that's another credit to you, but I will tell you, my opinion is Dr. Beckett's the best person in this, because he's the guy who's seen it all, right? He's seen the heyday, and he's seen the heyday as an adult, right? Like most of us remember the early 90s, but we remember it, when we were really young. But his perspective is fantastic, and he just doesn't pull any punches. He says it how it is. So I'll be looking forward to that one for sure.
Are you going to the Dallas show next week?
I'm the worst at going to shows. I've been thinking about this. Like I see the Wisconsin Dells posts, and I'm just like, man, I wish I was there. And every time there's a big show, I'm like, man, I wish I was there. Man, I wish I was there. I can't pull away the way that some people can. We've talked about it. I've got 3 kids. I had 3 kids. Now I have 4 kids. I almost just said I have 3 kids. I was going to say I have 3 kids and a baby. But to leave home for even a day is just hard for me to do. And so I try to go to one big show a year. And then besides that, like, nights and times where the kids are awake, and I've got to make sure I'm spending time with my wife too. Like that's the priority. But everything that's not devoted to work and family is devoted to cards. So those are kind of the priorities with some faith things in there too. So yeah, that's my life basically.
Me too, man. Work, family, and the hobby, whether it's the card aspect or the content aspect or mixing the two somehow. That's my life too, for sure. Okay, let's we have a few comments coming in. We got some viewers with us, so welcome everybody to After Hours. May the 15th, we've got Adam Gray, editor-in-chief, Basketball Card Fanatic. I'm going to start with this comment here from Yamwax. Just got his second physical issue of Basketball Card Fanatic in the mail today. Love it so much. I don't have any of mine yet because they're kind of en route. They're with my brother in Arizona, so I'll get them eventually once I bring up the stuff. We got Jordan Riker. Jordan Riker says, 2 hobby goats. Thank you for that compliment, Jordan Riker. Latrell Spreewell, what's good? Jeremy and Adam, big fans of both of you. Thank you, Latrell, fan of yours. And Thomas Newman hits us with a super sticker tip. Thank you, Thomas Newman, much appreciated. The big unit says Jeremy is the Walter Cronkite of the hobby. I'll take it. I'll take it for sure. Thank you, big unit. Jordan says, hope to meet you both at the National in July. Yeah, I told my wife earlier today or yesterday, I guess. I said to her, the National's happening. I'm going. So hopefully it all works out, but I'm pretty certain I will be there. Junk Wax Investor, amazing guest for sure. I've been binging your older episodes, and this is the first time I've been able to indulge live. Well, awesome to have you live, Junk Wax Investor. That's really cool. I love hearing that when people come live or they listen to the podcast or they listen to the show on podcast format and then they come and watch one live. I'd rather have you live than on podcast, but I understand not everybody can do it on a Saturday night, right? So I get it. And when you're watching live, unless you're behind and catching up, you can't go in faster speed. And I know when I watch and consume a lot of hobby content, I like to do it in fast speed because it just saves some time. and I like to watch and consume so much of it. Rodman Martinez in the house. I have a picture of me, you, and Rodman together at the National last in 2019. One of my favorite pictures. What does he say? Saturday with Sports Cars Live. Jeremy and Adam, the National is getting closer. I hope we can spend some time together like we did at the last one. No doubt, Rodman. We will, my brother. We will. Colin Murray says the Expo is 4 days this year. Yeah, so that's pretty cool, guys. The Sport Card Expo, we have the virtual coming up on June 19th and 20th. I talk about it all the time. I'm going to throw it up in the banner right now for everybody. It's something I'm passionate about. I've been a participant of the Sport Card Expo, and now Menzie is doing the virtual. This will be the third one. It's not a real expo. It's not, well, I won't say it. It's not an in-person expo. It's virtual, so it's going to be different. But give it a chance. Come check it out if you haven't yet, or at least come hang out with me for a while. I invite you all to do that. But Steve has announced that the actual expo in November in Toronto is going to be 4 days. It's always been 3 days. It's now Thursday to Sunday. Talked to him on the phone the other day. I said, that's the best news I've heard in a long time. 4 days. I love it. So congrats to him for expanding that to 4 days. Kyle Brown says Basketball Card Fanatic is fantastic. Now, what do we have to do to get Joe Ingles some premium high-end cards? We got card porn in the house. One of the biggest, most popular, sometimes controversial Instagram account. Great to have you, Card Porn. The two big boys are on tonight. Well, thank you, Card Porn. Great to have you. If Card Porn, if you're ever willing to expose yourself, I invite you onto the show. Open invitation to Card Porn. And my buddy Daniel says, good evening, everyone. Jeremy is a rock star and such a great ambassador for the hockey card market. I'm very grateful for him. Keep up. Thank you, guys. You're making me blush here, seriously. But thank you, Daniel. I do appreciate it, man. That's the end of the comments for now, Adam. So I got a couple kind of topics to talk about. I'm going to list them off quickly. The Hall of Fame induction ceremony today. I watched it and I enjoyed it. So we can talk a bit about that. We can also talk about the National because it's a go. It seems like it's a go, which is just great news. We've got your magazine. Let's talk about what's going on with Basketball Card Fanatic. Let's give you a little bit of mic time on that. And then the PWCC Premier Auction it's live and it's up and running right now. And it ends on Thursday. And I'm going to be doing you've agreed to come on. I said it earlier on the first show tonight that you're going to be my added bench strength because you bring a perspective I don't. You can speak to basketball the way I cannot, or the way I can try but maybe not succeed. So we're going to do it together. We're going to sit here and we're going to watch these auctions for a couple hours on Thursday night. It's going to start at 9 o'clock Eastern. That's when the auctions start to end and they go into extended bidding. So we're going to capture that extended bidding period. So why don't we kick off with that topic, Adam? I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I've gone through the PWCC Premier Auction, 139 lots. Most of them are single cards, but not all of them. And I have it open. We can bring it up and kind of scroll through it too. But what are you, is there any kind of storylines out of this Premier Auction that you're excited about? Anything that, any single lots that you're excited about? You want to see new comp set? What have you dug into so far?
I'm a pretty big Kobe collector, and there's a lot of really key Kobe cards. There's some that I'm interested in, but as is often the case now, stuff is so expensive that it's hard to estimate that I'll be able to actually get any of those cards. But I have my eye on a few of them. I think the big storyline that will come out of this auction is, how well do these cards do on a non-eBay platform? Because for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Premier Auction, it is PWCC, who you're used to thinking of as being like the leader in eBay card sales, right? Like I think they sell more on eBay than any other consignment shop for cards, maybe of anything, include outside of cardboard too. I think they might be the biggest seller on eBay of anything. But this is their first time going out on their own platform. And so they're both now a consignment shop and an auction house. And so the question is, how well does this new platform do? We've seen other platforms, have some struggles as they've come down the stretch. And so it's going to be really interesting to see how well they do. Technologically, does it succeed? Does Does it do what it's supposed to? Do people feel good about what the prices end up at? I need to probably point out here, as I've done on your show previously, that PWCC is a sponsor of Basketball Card Fanatic. They're one of our major sponsors, and so I would like to see them succeed. I'm not, totally unbiased, but I've also let them know, look, I'm going to say exactly what I think about you guys, but I think it looks great. The interface is awesome. I love that, unlike some of the auction houses, before you place a bid, you can see what the buyer's premium will be. I think it's pretty slick. I like that I can use my funds that are in my vault funds, my PWCC vault funds, to buy those cards. And so, I sold a couple of big cards a little while ago in anticipation of having something big show up on PWCC. So I'm kind of loaded and ready to bid on some big items. And yeah, I'm just interested to see. Have you, Jeremy, have you gone to actually like place a bid yet? Have you looked through and like sort of checked out like how you feel about like the interface and stuff? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I did that. I did that earlier today. I actually went on and I didn't bid on anything, but I did go through the process and stop just short of placing a bid. And I mean, from my perspective, it is slick. It's slicker than what I've seen so far from many of the other auction houses in terms of platforms. I mean, everything else is pretty clunky out there. They're all using what seems to be that same platform, which seems to be from, the early 2000s, mid 2000s. So I think, PWCC, they don't really mess around. And you can see that from their item descriptions on eBay. They've always had in my opinion, the best looking item descriptions on eBay, where you could even link to those high resolution photos on their website, right? So they're consistent with that. I saw it today for the first time. I thought, okay, this looks really good. And, I like that it's only 139 lots. It's so manageable. It's just so easy to see. It's organized. I looked at, when I first got there, I thought, okay, the order of the lots it's a little funny. Like what's this order? What does it mean? And then I realized it's by featured items. So I don't know how many are featured. I mean, there's only 139. So I don't know how many are featured and how many are not, and what happens at the end of the featured items. But for me, the easiest way to consume this is to do it by oldest first. That makes the most sense for me. So I'm doing it on my other monitor. I can see by oldest first, and okay, so we've got some T206s, and we go all the way through. We got some Jackie Robinsons, the Babe Ruth Gowdy, and so on and so forth. And here, I'll bring it up. Why don't I bring it up since we're talking about it? Let me do a screen share. So if anyone hasn't seen it yet, now you got to keep in mind though that they're looking at $50,000 and up in terms of values per lot. So here we go. This is what it. Hold on one second. I just want to. Okay, here we go. So. Here we go. So you can see that here it is, and you can sort it by oldest first, newest first, and then the price, highest and lowest, or by featured items. I like this little badge right here, 4 days, 21 hours remaining. So this is what it looks like. It's as really simple as that. And if you come down to the Mickey Mantle here, you hit bid. It's at 50 grand right now. It makes sense. Bid now. And I like this. Like, it doesn't take you to a new screen. It just expands, and you can pick your bid, whether you want to put in a proxy or the next one. Again, I'm not going to make a bid, but if I did, I guess you hit submit, and that's it. So it's all right here. And while you bid on this one, you can still see what else there is. You can, okay, I'm going to click on that, but I'm going to scroll around.
Hey, let me jump in real quick. I believe, and I don't want you to do it because I don't want you to accidentally bid on something and then, having it, make a mistake. But I did bid on a few of those Kobe cards that I was telling you about, and I believe when you hit submit, another screen does come up, and that next screen says, here's what the buyer's premium will be, and so it leaves you with this like very clear understanding. And since you have to sign up for the vault beforehand, there's no other fees or anything else that's hidden on the end of that, which again, unlike the other major auction houses, it's nice to know what you would be paying when you actually bid, rather than, I think those of us who've won things on the other major auction houses, not only the buyer's premium, but what kind of buyer's premium is it? Because there's different kinds. The other thing is I like the transparency of, knowing that no one's negotiating on the buyer's premium on either side. It just is what it is. You know what the final price is. There's nothing funny. And you're showing off the 3D imaging right now, which is maybe the coolest part of all of it, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do, because I noticed this. You can actually, I don't know, I think it's just because I'm streaming that it's not working fast, but on this 360 degree sort of spinorama here, you can actually, there you go. You can go up and down, side to, there we go. It's kind of working now. Up and down, side to side. And you can tell that, like, look at the light on there.
Yeah.
It's just, you can actually, which helps you to see the foil. See the foil there?
Hey, Jeremy, go click on the Kobe PMG. That's one where you can really see that effect that you're talking about right now. And I think it's really cool because, they not only, they also have a video. So they've got every one of the cards has a picture, as obviously super high def front and back, but also then the 3D imaging, which allows you to see the card in a really unique way, and a video. I kind of don't know what more you could do with an auction to show off a card than what they're doing. And say what you want about PWCC, but this is like really cool stuff.
I agree, man. I haven't seen it, but look at even that opening image.
But turn it. It's so cool.
Oh wow, yeah. Okay, hold on. There we go. Look. You can't see that on eBay. Well,
no.
I mean, unless you're linking to PWCC, I guess. But like even the up and the down, I think is just a neat. Which helps you to see the edge.
Yep.
Right.
You can see every part of it. So you have both transparency in the cardboard in a way that you haven't seen before, and you see transparency in the bidding and like knowing what something actually sold for. I like, again, and people have lots of not so positive opinions about people, but like, this is awesome. I think this is just a home run for them. And the real question is, let's see if it works, that the auction could still, the software could fail and they could have a downage, for a day or something like that. And we'll see. But for right now, with 4 days and 24 hours to go, I think it's really cool.
I mean, I hear you. As far as the platform failing, only 139 lots.
Yeah.
I think that kind of helps minimize the chance of that. I wanted to show this though. Look at, PMGs are sometimes hard to understand what they are, but that angle right there, you can see the ink lift off the card. Like these cards, if you put your fingers over them, it's almost like Braille, like they're bumpy because that red ink was layered on to take the shape of the planets in the background. You can't see that on a flat scan like this one here. Like that's the same card. So yeah, it's just really cool. And this is technology. I'm not surprised that they did that. But in any event, I mean, where are we here? There's 139 lots. I like they've been putting out on Insta or emails lately. They've been putting out like all the Kobe's, all the Jordan cards, all the vintage baseball. I think they're doing a great job promoting it. And I don't know that I'm going to buy any card. I know I'm not going to buy any cards from it, because they're pretty much out of my price range at this point in time. But man, are there some amazing cards in here. But let's talk. So on Thursday night, we're going to be going through. We don't know exactly how we're going to really manage this auction watch party, as I like to call them. It's going to be the first one. And I want people to know, if you're planning to join Adam and I for this on Thursday, just understand that it's not like the eBay watch parties that I've been doing where we know when they end. It's easy enough to go from auction to auction. Here, we're going to be kind of jumping around. We're going to be focusing on one card at a time, talking about them a little bit, maybe talking about older comps, talk about the importance of the cards themselves, and open to suggestions and comments from the crowd on that. So please bring them on Thursday night when we go live. We'll go live at probably 7 o'clock our time. We're in the same time zone, Adam, which is great for you and me, but that's going to be 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I just think it'll be fun.
I'm looking forward to it too. Before we move on from the PWCC thing, can I show something from the magazine real quick that I think is kind of cool?
Yeah, for sure, please.
So I only have one copy of this left. Unfortunately, this one is sold out. We only printed 100 copies, which in retrospect was a big mistake. But this one has been really popular with the gold look on the background. And the feature interview, we always have an interview with somebody who's a leader in the in the world of cardboard. And so this one was with Jesse Craig, and he's the VP of business development at PWCC. One of the things that he actually, this is where they talked about 3D imaging for the first time. They hadn't talked about it anywhere before. They talked about it on Basketball Card Fanatic. But I want to show you I don't know if you, because I know you haven't gotten it yet, but there's a couple of pictures in here of a couple of sorry, I need to figure out which way I'm going. A couple of the machines that they have. They call them lefty and righty. The reason they're able to scan so many cards, and so many more than really anybody else is because they actually have machines doing like 99% of that work. I just think it's so cool. Like, can you imagine like this little, he kind of described it. It's like this thing like can pick up the card, can put it on the scanner, can turn it upside down, and like 90 something percent of that work is all done by a machine now. Maybe to other people that seems like something that should just be happening, but I don't know. I just think that's really cool. That's where the technology is at this point, that we have not just machines scanning, but machines putting the cards through the process. I think it's really cool.
That is cool. And what I like about this platform is that what I see is, can they scale it so that it's going to be for not just $50,000 cards? So that cards that I might be able to buy on a regular basis, like I do from them on their normal eBay auctions. Let's go to a few comments before I just get out of hand and I lose track of them. Dave Slipka, Chi Town Hustler, still here. Happy to have you for the evening, my friend. Yamwax says to Rodman he should get Rodman to autograph the Basketball Card Fanatic cover because the other Rodman is on the cover. I think that's hilarious. Jordan wants to know, will Adams 2012 Prism Gold Kobe be included in the auction? Don't think so, is it?
No, I had a few people say to me, hey, you're such a supporter of PWCC, you should send one of your big cards. The thing is, guys, I don't have that many cards that would qualify, and I don't want to sell them. So I didn't send any, but I would have loved to support them in that way, but I don't have anything to sell for right now.
Something tells me they have enough cards to sell, though. Like they have this endless stream of cards. So, and they got cards in the vault, and so a lot of people moving cards in and out. So, but yeah, it'd be cool to have a card in this auction for sure, especially since it's the first one ever. Card Porn says it will be interesting to see if PWCC site can stay up when the auctions come to a close and the bidding frenzy starts. Their layout is definitely far superior to the other auction houses. Yeah, I agree with that. But I mean, again, only 139 lots. We saw Golden's auction site, in the February, the March, whatever it was, it had some issues, but those are 5,000 lot auctions. This is a fraction of that. So I have to think, I'm speculating. I don't know for sure, but if I were to bet on it, I would say that this site will not fail because 139 lots, a very small number, and you can see the investment they've made. You just talked about a robot taking videos that are cards. You have to think that they have enough server power here to withstand it. So, but time will tell. Let's see. I agree with Card Porn. It will be interesting. And we've seen auction houses kind of be scrutinized, somewhat attacked when there have been issues. If there are new issues, I'd like to see people praise the fact that it didn't go down. Let's see it go work both ways. Would be nice to see. Junk Wax says the 360-degree view of the cards is cool. Definitely looks slick. Yeah, for sure. And I want to also, along with Terry Fortune, congratulate Jordan Riker on winning the Sports Cards Live regular season hockey pool, which just ended. So congrats to Jordan. And Terry Fortune took home second place. So congrats to both of you guys. That was a fun hockey pool. We'll tweak the rules next year. None of this maximum roster spots and all that. And I apologize for that. Daniel says, if the PWCC Premier the auction card tilting and flipping is off the charts, it really is. Terry says, thanks, Jordan. And Tristan says, PWCC stepped up their game. I mean, That's a nice comment, Tristan. But PWCC's game has always been stepped up. They've all because for a while now you could click on the eBay auction for the high res scans and go to. I've never seen scans like theirs before. So, but they stepped it up again. To Tristan's point,
can I give a shout out to Tristan? He was. He'd have to remind me. I think he was issue 4's industry interview. Tristan's Logo Man Shark on Instagram, Tristan20 from the old Blowout Cards forums, and just one of the early super collectors of really high-end basketball cards. The other thing that I love about Tristan is he and I have talked a lot about this. He is somebody who will be very honest in how he feels about things, and he'll tell you the things about PWCC that he doesn't like. He and I have talked about some of those things before, but so when he says PWCC stepped up their game, that really means something. So good call by Tristan there.
And appreciate that added context. It's nice to have a bit of context when it comes to certain comments we see and who's making them. So great to have you, Tristan, along, and your scrutiny throughout, and not scrutiny, but to say that, I guess, as Adam said, yeah, I appreciate the comment as well. Colin Murray says it there we are. It justifies the buyer's premium and shows how old and difficult to navigate Heritage and Golden is. Yeah, those platforms are, and they're not alone using it. But as we've heard on this show from Ken Golden, that he's got a new platform coming. And when he was on last time, I think we said, okay, so by early Q3 or end of Q2, so I think if they're still on track, by end of June, early July, so they've still got time to get there. And I'm not going to say I'm sure they will. I'm going to say I hope they do, and I hope the Golden platform is as slick. Yet it'll be different because you can tell PWCC's is very proprietary. But I can't wait to see what Golden's platform looks like and just how usable it is.
Can I just jump in and say this is why competition's so wonderful, because competition allows us to say, hey, Golden, go try to be better than PWCC. Hey, PWCC, go try to continue to be better than Golden on your website. Like, let them fight each other. When Golden started selling all this stuff, a lot of us sort of like stood back and went, wow, in 2021 you got a 20% buyer premium and people are paying this. You guys are making a ton of money. This is something, man. Like, somebody's got to be able to compete with that. Who can compete with it is PWCC, right? They have a lower buyer premium, and now Golden maybe has to step up in some ways, so they probably can't continue to charge the same buyer's premium. Maybe they will. I don't know. Maybe there's reasons why they can do that. I'm not sure, but this competition between these big auction houses is really great for us collectors, because we can stand back and say, you guys go fight, you go try to win and try to be the very best you can. I hope they both win, right? I hope they both totally succeed, and the sports card market continues to bring new people in, and we continue to grow, and it's been an amazing last 24 months. But
no doubt, man.
These guys go at it and like really compete against each other. It's like it was in the old days with Tops and Upper Deck going at, like, that was a good thing, and competition's good.
For sure. A couple comments, and I want to bring up a topic. Colin says 100%. It is a test to see how it goes. Some really big cards in the next PWCC eBay auction. Mm-hmm. PSA Slab Guy says, is this the start of PWCC trying to move away from eBay? I mean, I kind of want to say I hope so, because, I mean, number one, I'm always cognizant of the availability, the transparency of comps, especially when it comes to the data services like the card ladders, because I want them to be able to have access to that. But I also, eBay has been pissing people off left, right, and center. And now with the no more sport categories, it seems like if you're a seller on eBay, take down your stuff, because I'm not even doing my regular. I'm on my eBay app going through my saved searches. I don't know, every hour at least. I'm always in there looking to see what little blue lights have lit up, and I'm kind of just not right now. I'm looking, but I'm like, this just sucks right now. So, boy, oh boy, eBay, what a bad time to mess up your search system, because you got people that are nipping on your heels like the PWCCs, like the Goldens, and you're just opening up the door for them. So I don't know what eBay's doing. I would hope that they have a plan and that they didn't just mess this up because of some bad decision, but that's what it kind of feels like right now. What are your thoughts?
Man, I have so many thoughts. I have like a love-hate relationship with eBay because I think they do so many things so badly, but they also have been like, they've been huge for so long in so many ways. You know, they pioneered so many things, right? Like just the idea of online sales of sports cards in an auction format. That's eBay. You know, the idea that anybody can go bid is both good and it's bad. I will say that in terms of PWCC, you know, moving away from eBay allows them, and I don't speak for them. I don't know their mind completely. I did an interview, right? I did an interview, and I've talked to them a few times, and they like I say, they sponsor the magazine, but I don't know them perfectly. I don't know their mind. I would guess though that when it comes to you're dead on, Jeremy. When it comes to $50,000 items, even $20,000 or $10,000 items, that's a pretty elite level. There aren't thousands of those that should be ending a day. But PWCC is selling $200 cards too. And it's one of the things that Jesse talks about in here is he says, you know, he talks about like the breadth of values that you see and the number of, you know, lower end sales that they do. It's hard for me to imagine that PWCC could create something that does everything that eBay does for that breadth of $200 to $2 million auctions. I don't know if they can pull that off, and I don't know that they want to. My guess is that's not currently on the roadmap, but again, I don't know that. It's just a sense that I got from this interview with Jesse. I talked to him for about an hour, and he seemed like he wanted to. They were strong partners with eBay, and again, on a $200 item, or even on a $500 or $1,000 item, I don't think that's a bad idea. I think, especially for the cost and what they're able to actually sell the item for, and then, you know, the small amount of fees that come out of that, I think it's hard to imagine they can beat that.
I think you know, I like your threshold to 200. I almost, because it's a good one, because it's almost worth their time. I don't know for sure, but I would think it's maybe worth their time at 200 and up, or whatever that number is. And then that level and beneath kind of falls in the ComC sweet spot. You know, once ComC gets through their issues and they're up running efficiently again, I can see that, because otherwise, yeah, PWCC, unless they're going to scale up staff-wise huge and put all these $50 cards through their robotic video guy, I don't know that really is conducive to their business plan. I don't know their business plan either, but in any event, let's move on from that for a minute here. Excuse me. So I don't know how to say. I know I've said this name right before. I can go with Jocelyn Montague says, do you guys think SGC CSG will gain more of a share of the grading market if PSA takes longer than July to reopen, especially if their minimum cost to grade is $50 or more? It's a good question. I don't want to spend a ton of time talking about grading, but I do want to address this question. So I'll take my first shot at it. And I mean, you know, the key word there is, you know, if they don't reopen by July. I've heard that they will be, even maybe a bit sooner. I think I may have heard somewhere that they are trending towards that. So now, if it's 50 or more, I think 50 is a fine price point. I mean, SGC just lowered their price down to 30. I have to think that most people, I'm not going to project. For myself, I would spend the extra $20 to use PSA over $30 at SGC. For myself, I'm not going to project that upon the whole hobby or anybody else, but I have to think that some people think the way I do too. So for the people that think that way, I mean, probably not. But overall, I have to think, yes, there is some room. And so, yeah, I think they will gain more of the market share, especially if PSA takes longer than July to reopen those lower service levels. And yeah, if those guys can compete on price, that's an important metric to compete on. There's no doubt about it. So I think the answer is yes. How about you, Adam?
I think you're spot on. It's always a math game. And so if there comes a time where people can say, people can say, I can send this in to PSA, or I can send this in to, say, CSG, and say CSG costs $30 less, but and the card is going to sell for, $20 less if you send it into CSG as opposed to PSA. Well, your net gain there is $10 more through sending it into CSG. Can I foresee a world where specifically lower end things like base Prism rookies and things like that historically people have sent to PSA, or maybe now people might lean towards a less expensive option that also becomes an authority in the space? Yeah, I can see that. I just don't know. It's one of these things. It's a good question. Jocelyn, I think is your name. I think it's a really good question, but I think it's one of those things that we wait to see how it plays out. And the hard part about that is if you're holding your cards and you're like, where do I send these? You can't really foresee the future. What I can tell you is I think that in particular, the CSG cases look really cool, and they have a real history in a tangential space, right? They're a comic book expert, and they've done really well at that. And so if people start to like their cases and they can compete on price, as Jeremy said, and PSA raises their rates so that it doesn't become, easy to turn that profit, especially on lower end stuff, I can see that. For me, I don't really grade lower end stuff very often. And so I think I'll probably stick with PSA and BGS. I still use BGS for my thick cards. I still think they do the best job on those. So that's kind of how I feel. I don't think any of them are perfect. And often I'll also say this, I went a year without sending anything to graders. Graders are not as important of a part of my life as they are to a lot of the people in the hobby. I don't think you have to use a grader to have a really wonderful experience with the hobby, but some people think so. So to those people, yeah, I think some people will go to SGC and CSG.
So do I. Okay, I'm just going to address Pogs and Pinstripes. Pogs and Pinstripes, I just put Adam's Instagram handle on here, so feel free to follow. He does a great job all the time of showing his personal collection on Instagram. That's where you can find out what he PCs, because I want to go to Willie T's question here. He says, and this is for you specifically, Adam, with Panini Prism at over $2,000 a box, where is the future of basketball cards? They have priced out a lot of the hobby, and even the big buyers have trouble finding value with these boxes. I'm going to put this one to you, as Willie T did.
Well, this is something that DJ Ski talked about a little bit, and I thought I actually got my wheels turning a little bit. So you asked him the question, Jeremy. You said, what should we do for the kids? What should we, how would you change things? And you kind of posed it in a couple different questions. It kind of seemed like you wanted to hear specific ideas, and I think he gave a few, but I think that something that he said that I think is true is we don't want to go back to some sort of junk wax era where there's just unlimited supply. And so the idea of keeping things really limited is good. Having said that, we also have a single distributor of NBA licensed cards. And so, and this question is pertaining to specifically basketball cards. There's no reason that Panini can't put something out there that is both really exciting, not as limited, and really cheap. Now, you might say, but those will still fly off the shelves if they're way too cheap, blah, blah, blah. That might be true, but I'd like to see them try. A few years ago, they did a product called Panini Complete, and it's this huge base set. It was 400 cards, and the cards were like when I say paper, think of the quality of Topps, just basic Topps cards, and then cut that quality in half. They were thin. They were this matte finish. They weren't great, but why can't Panini do a product that's like Panini Complete, but also has, some cool chases, some neat, rarer inserts, and that I can open with my son, because I got an 11-year-old. I can't open anything with him, right? His dad's got this really, I've got a really cool, to answer the previous, I've got a pretty cool basketball card collection. I've worked on it for 30 years. Hopefully it is pretty cool. But I can't afford to open wax with my son. I can't, and if I can't, then there's lots of people who can't. So, they need to figure out a way, and it's not I don't think what I just said is rocket science. Make that product, put it out there, and put it out there in a way where it doesn't immediately fly off every shelf in the world, and it's priced in a way that's fine. Do that, because you can do that as Panini, and you know, they've got some hard problems to figure out. I get it, and I get that it's not easy. That's one thing that they can do.
I was just having the thought, and then the reason why you just saw my eyes kind of do that is because I thought, well, no, that might not work. But my thought was, you know, why don't they work with the card shops, the LCS? Never mind Target and Walmart. That's a crap show. But work with the card shops, come out with a product, and just keep it at a low price. And the reason why I think that might not work is because there's only so much printing capacity in the industry right now, and so they need to maximize every hour they have on those printers.
That's
so
true.
Why would you do a low margin product? Why would you? Now, the answer to why would you is long term, thinking the next generation. Allocate a certain amount of your printer time to the future of the hobby on a low margin, you know, high print run, whatever it would be, kind of product. Maybe the answer is something like that. I don't know. But like you said, it's not rocket science, although it's more complex now than it's ever been because of these price points of what should be, you know, a flagship product should be 150 a box, not 2,000. So it's getting tougher.
Yeah, let me just say, you highlighted that in a way that I think is perfect. They have constraints that we don't understand, and I've talked to people over there, and I get it. When I say it's not rocket science, that maybe downplays how hard the situation is. And their goal as a business is to make money, and they basically get to print it right now, right? Like they make money, or they make a card, and it just flies off the shelf. It's sold out immediately. People are literally fighting and whatever to try to get it. So I do get that it's hard, but I'm with you that like this is a problem that's big enough and that people have talked about enough. The problem that kids cannot collect. That kids cannot open packs. Kids can collect, by the way. Yeah. You go get on ComC if you're a kid. In fact, if I give my son $100 to go spend on ComC, he can spend weeks trying to figure out what to buy and what he likes and what set he wants to do, and it could be a ton of fun. So you can still collect without being able to open packs. But if I'm Panini, I mean, I agree with you, Jeremy. If I'm Panini, I want kids to have that opportunity, and that opportunity they don't have right now unless their parents are super wealthy.
Yeah, true. I like what you said though. Kids can collect, they just can't open packs, and that's true. And I mean, you and me, we started in the hobby opening packs, but I don't open many packs anymore because I understand the risk involved, and I would, you know, even. I'm looking at some F1, the Topps Chrome F1s right now, because I'm now, for anyone who's keeping track, I've watched all 30 episodes of the documentary on Netflix, loved every minute of it, and now I know all the drivers, I know their personalities. It was awesome. I went into that documentary knowing absolutely nothing about F1. Anyway, my point is that I could be buying a box of the stuff for whatever it is, $500, or I can go buy the one card for, you know, not Lewis Hamilton's, but other great drivers for less than that if I were to spend $500 on a box and get that card, I'd be ecstatic. Well, I can save money now and do that. So you don't need to open packs to collect. You need to open packs to have the thrill of opening a pack. So you have to decide, do you want, is that imperative for you to get into the hobby as a kid? Kids, it seems like a lot of kids right now are in it's like opening packs is for the really young kids. All the other kids if you have a cell phone or you have access to the internet, you're into the values of things now. And so is it really that important for teenagers to open packs, or is it important for like 6 to 9-year-olds to open packs, or 6 to 10-year-olds to open packs? I don't know the answer to it, but we can talk about this forever and ever. It's jump in, please. I'm kind of going in circles now.
Oh no, I just gave you a thumbs up. I think we're aligned on that. I think you bring up some really good points there. For me, I never opened a lot of packs. I don't hardly open anything now. But I always would open something on Christmas. And we're to a point where a lot of kids can't even get something on Christmas. And that's like, I'd like, I guess, people to have the same sort of experience that I had, or at least you could do something. And right now there's nothing.
Well, you know what I'd like to see, like even a ComC gift card on Christmas. Like here's $100 ComC credit card. Go load it into your account. Now you got 5 million cards you can go choose from. Now you might have to wait a while to get them in 2021, but eventually you'll get them in a normal time frame. But even still, even just scrolling through ComC is an enjoyable experience. I like scrolling through. I hear a lot of people don't like their platform. I'm fine with it, and it's the same one I've been using since like I got on there in 2012 or 13. I'm okay with it. My point is that there are other creative ways that a youngster can enjoy Christmas morning without opening the packs in hand. I think it won't be the same experience. Don't get me wrong. It's not the same experience, but it might be just as rewarding. I don't know. Every kid will be different. Okay. Let's go to the next comment here, kind of backtracking a bit, but Colin says, with not as many shows to sell your cards for a dealer, PSA has some time on their side, still going to get more for a PSA slab. I agree with that. Devin says, do you think that the base card market will crash because so many are printed? Example, 2020 NFL Select. There's so many base rookies throughout the hobby and retail. Do you want to take it first, Adam?
Sure. I think that I wouldn't think about like an entire market, like the base card market, living or dying on a specific product. Maybe that product won't do well, but I don't think it'll kill necessarily everything else. I don't want to speak for Jeremy, but I'm not huge into cards that are easy to access and to purchase. If something's out there on eBay in a high quantity, I don't really have any interest in purchasing it. But a lot of people do. And so we need to kind of give voice to those collectors sometimes. And be willing to sort of like try to put ourselves in their shoes. People love their base cards. People just want to own a slab of a card that's well known. They want to be able to say, I got this thing. Especially, I think a lot of younger collectors really like that. And I would guess that a product like the one that you just described, this NFL Selected, that has a ton of regular rookies, I would guess that it doesn't impact the whole market in any way. But I would guess that the rookies in that specific product wouldn't be as sought after because the supply is so great.
Yeah, good comments, man. And I'll add that. So it's funny, considering the last question was accessibility to kids and, to young kids, it's usually going to be base cards or lower end cards. So on the one point, we're saying there's not enough base cards, not enough low end cards for kids. And on the other hand, we're saying, do you think that there's so many of them that it's going to crash the market? So it's these two, I don't know that these two desires of the hobby or these two kind of forces of the hobby can really, do they reconcile? Do they coexist that well? And I don't know, I'd have to think it through some more. But to the specific question, I think that as populations of, I don't even like the term base card. Not that it doesn't exist, not that it's not a defined term. But for the question, I prefer the term commodity card because we're talking high pop, highly liquid, and like Adam said, a card that a lot of people want, right? Like a Ken Griffey Jr. 1989 Upper Deck card. It's an iconic card, but it's also a commodity card. It's a high pop card, but it's also an important card. So, I don't think it's going to crash the market because those are they're not price-wise, but they're still entry-level cards or entry point cards because they're mainstream a lot of the time. So, I don't think the market is going to crash. I don't think it will. But as I talked about DJ Ski earlier tonight, he has concerns about the populations, and I think that's a legitimate concern. So, will it crash? Maybe. I'm going to say maybe. I'm going to take back, I don't think so, to maybe, but I think that there's enough demand out there for them that, and again, entry point demand, like not mature, sophisticated collectors as much. And in the last show, I did say, I think where you need to go to avoid this potential force of PSA slab coming onto the hobby, the tsunami of them, if you will, is focus on numbered cards, serially numbered cards, finite numbered cards. So you have to make that decision. I'm really uncomfortable answering the question, do I think the base card market will crash? Go ahead, Adam.
So the thing that came to my mind as you were talking about that is a difference between now and when the Griffey rookie first came out that I've been thinking about. This is like super philosophical, so get ready for this.
Okay.
I think the thing that's different between now and back then is you might have some of the same principles at hand, where there's like the one that we always mention is like the Luka Prism rookie, right? There's thousands and thousands of them in the population. And that's not different than how the Griffey rookie was, back in the day. Maybe there was way more of the Griffey rookie. There probably were. I don't really know those numbers. The thing that I think is really different, and it puts a real wrench in this whole supply and demand thing, is you do have people at this point who act as like these massive like grabbers of these commodity cards. And so you'll have people who own like 1,000 of a graded card, or in the hundreds of a graded card, and they're looking at it and they're treating it the same way that you would treat a real stock, like a real company, where you're like, hey, if it gets below this point, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to buy it. And there's this support for it. And the support comes with a couple of people, not a couple, but a limited number of people with like really big pockets. And so they'll go out there and they'll buy this, and that shows support for the price of cards. And it can be anything it could be anything. It could be something that's lower pop or something that's higher. It can be anything. But why that's interesting is it's just different to know how that really influences us. Like, as time goes by, do those people leave? Or do those people plan on holding them forever? Is there a way for them to get out of their position? And I think position is the right word there, right? Mm-hmm. I don't really know what happens. What I know, though, is that in 1989, people weren't going around in the same quantities as we have today with hundreds of thousands of dollars, setting real price limits on things and treating those specific individual cards as stock. I think that's different. And I don't know how it's going to play out. But I think it's really interesting and exciting to watch for those people. I'm personally glad that I'm not exactly in the middle of that. But I'm not saying that there's not a ton of money to be made, because I'll tell you what, if you go back in time a few years, if your goal was to just make money, you could have done a lot worse things than just invest in low end commodity cards, as you talk about. That might have been the best way actually to spend your money.
Yeah. Yeah. I like your comment about like, what do they leave? What happens to their position? We do know, like, we've seen that tweet from, and I just use him because he's kind of, a bit of a poster child, is the when Gary Vee showed that big table with stacks and stacks of slabs and however many Luka Prism bases he has. What happens when him or someone like that, someone with that sort of inventory, a position, goes and dumps them on the market? Are they going to do it in a real calculated fashion, like one a week, one a month, or are they just going to dump them? Like, you can see some PWCC auctions where there's, a couple dozen of the same card being auctioned off. What if that couple dozen turns into a couple hundred? Not that PWCC would do that, who knows? But eBay could do it. A single seller on eBay could do it. What happens if and when that happens? Or do they sell them in a lot of 100? Here's 100 PSA 10 Luka Prism bases, sort of thing. But again, the person who buys that is the same. It's just the transfer of ownership doesn't remove the question from the table and from being important in the hobby. So tough to say. But okay, let's move on, because we're getting way behind. And I know that often what happens with Adam is that we go for like way longer than he wants, and then he sends me a private message saying, "Okay, man, when is this thing? When can I go to sleep?" So. You let me know when you want to wind down, Adam.
Well, I'm good, brother. I'm good.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna look for our next topic that we're going to address here. Let's see. Here we have Dave Slipka says, "Devil's advocate, in the heat of the early '90s, everyone said we are pricing out the kids, so they made 99-cent packs, and those brands bombed, and here we are. The hobby is fine." Right? Like, and you have to understand, Dave Slipka has been grossly entrenched in the hobby since then. He worked at Beckett for 22 years. He has his finger on the pulse of the hobby. So read this comment and like embrace it. I can't tell you that enough. And if you want to learn more about Dave, you didn't watch the show last week. He was our guest last Saturday on Sports Cards Live. So thank you, Dave, for jumping in. I appreciate your insights all the time. Junkwax says, do you think this could be caused by the price that these companies need to pay for these exclusive licenses? I imagine these exclusive licenses are not getting cheaper year over year. That's a really great point, and that's definitely one of their inputs. That's part of the reason why. Now, I don't think it doesn't really justify the secondary market price of wax or really anything, but it certainly justifies or causes the primary market price of wax for sure. And I have to think that with the attention the hobby is getting, that when these things come up for renewal, we're either gonna see competition or we're gonna see increased prices of licenses. Now that's just me thinking myself. I have no idea if that's true or not. Carson Cruz says, tag Pure Graded X on Instagram with a video of your son or daughter asking for cards this Christmas, and we will send them a SP sample promo slab from our vault of their favorite player team. Just pay shipping. Well, that's really nice, Carson Cruz. So Carson Cruz, I want to speak to you directly for a moment if you're still there. Oh, I think you are. I mentioned last week, and I guess you're with a new grading company called Pure Graded X. I'm inviting all the new grading companies. I'm putting it out there. If you want to come on the show and speak to the Sports Cards Live audience about what you're doing, just send me a message and we'll get you on and plan for that. So I'd love to hear from you, Carson Cruz. Carvin Chung in the house, my man Carv, welcome to the show. Always great to have you. Stephen Foley from South Florida says, should Panini hit the reset button on releases so product is not coming out so late, i.e. Hoops, Premium, Stock, and Select Football? They can't, Stephen. They cannot. Everything is coming out late because of the third-party vendors on printing. It's just the way it is going to be. You have to think at least another year, and we as a hobby have to just accept the fact that 2021 products are going to come out at the end of 2021, maybe even into 2022. And while some people will say, well, is it still a 2021 product if it comes out in 2022? The answer is yes. Yes, it is. That's just one of the things you just got to accept and deal with it. I'm not talking to you, Stephen, directly, but it's just the way of the world right now. We're not the only industry that is experiencing these delays in things. My parents are renovating a house and everything is getting pushed back. It's everywhere. So we just have to accept it. But I don't, and now directly to Stephen Foley, I don't know if that was the spirit of your question, but if it was, there you go. If it wasn't, feel free to clarify. Adam, anything to jump in with?
No, I think you're wise. I haven't thought a lot about the backlog from the printers, but I think you're right. And COVID slowed everything down. I think you and I probably have a like mind on this. I tend to be more patient and kind of give them the benefit of the doubt.
That's my approach, man. So we're like-minded on that for sure. Corey Carr, sorry you're late. Family obligations. We'll have to watch the replay. Glad to have you, even if you're just checking in right now, my man. Carson Cruz says, in 1989, I ripped several boxes of Upper Deck and never pulled a single Griffey. Yeah, well, what was it, like a 700 card set? So yeah, it was tougher to do it back then. Still don't have one, dude. That's a card. To me, it's like the Wayne Gretzky rookie. If you collect hockey at all, unless you only collect a single player, like my friend Carlos only collects Mike Modano, he does not need a Wayne Gretzky rookie. I completely understand and accept that. But if you dabble in hockey here and there, you need a Gretzky rookie eventually, If you dabble in baseball, you need a Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card. Upper Deck number. To me, it's such a cool card also because it's the #1 card in the very first set they ever did. I know it's not the first card they did. There were some samples, whatever they were. But to me, the #1 card of the first set they ever did is an iconic card. It's kind of like initiation type of thing into the hobby, right? You got to get that card. Of course you don't, but you know what I'm saying. Carvin says in the 1990s, lots of collectors built war chests of singles too, just bought raw. And I can corroborate this. I had a shop 91 to 94. And I remember one customer comes to mind. He was an older gentleman, probably in his 50s, maybe his 60s, and he used to come in and inspect all the cards and put together a 9-pocket sheet of every rookie in the Upper Deck hockey set. And he was with a magnifying glass back then. But I'll just put that out there.
I would jump in and just say to Carvin, I agree. There was a when I worked at the old House of Cards in Salt Lake City, we acquired this collection at one point, and I remember we got this 800 count box of 1987 Topps baseball cards, which, if you know baseball, like 87 Topps, basically like there's a the Barry Bonds rookie, and then there's like a Mark McGuire that's kind of worth a little bit of money, but for the most part it's not worth anything. So I got it, I looked at it, and I thought, do I need to flip through these real quick to see if there's anything of value in here? And I flipped through and I realized that every card in the 800 count box was the same player. And that was an unusual thing to see, but you did see it. So Carvin's exactly right. Where I would suggest it's a little bit different is that, with the Luka PSA situation that we were just talking about, Carvin, if you have this huge amount of money, and I'm not saying this is happening with Luka, by the way, I don't know this. I'm not like claiming anything. So just to get that clear. But like you could take $500,000 and you could say, I'm going to buy every single one of these that gets to this that is lower than this price. And you could own a huge percentage of the population in a way that I don't think you could with raw cards back then, because there was no internet to buy off of. There was, millions of the cards. And so to own the same percentage of the outstanding shares or the outstanding cards, I don't think was as possible then as it is now. And so I think that element's different. That's just my take.
I just want to add, so I appreciate that, and I agree. When I was saying 9 pocket pages, I also want to add in that there were articles in, was it SCD magazine or Beckett or even the Canadian Card Collector back then, where you could buy 100 card lots of any card in the set that you wanted. So when Carvin says war chests, I mean 100 card lot, you could probably buy 10 of those if you wanted to fill up an actual war chest with a single, like a Kip Miller Young Guns from 1990-91. If anyone knows who Kip remembers that, but people were doing that. Ken Hodge Jr.'s, people were doing that, just to throw a couple obscure rookie cards that were hot in 1991 that are kind of fell off the face of the earth. Okay. Here we go. Big Unit sending Carson Cruz a big sub on Monday. That's pretty cool. And Carson Cruz will reach out to me this week. Awesome, Carson. Sounds great. Let's see what else we got here. Junk Wax says Donruss Griffey rookie card, better than Upper Deck for me. Personal choice, like the Donruss better. That Donruss card, I've got to tell you, like with that purple border, it has really grown on me over the last several years. Now, to me, the Upper Deck is still a much more iconic and important card, but I take nothing away from that Donruss. It's a cool card too, no doubt about it. I agree with you for sure. Slipka says Brian Gray has 1,000 plus, right? I don't. Of which card? Of the Luka, or what? Who's his favorite baseball player that he buys? Acuna. He loves Acuna. Not sure how many he has of that. BJ Sal, good evening. Welcome to the show. Peter Chow says Kip Miller was a Hobie Baker winner. That's true for sure. Alan Barber says, what's up to Unit? Okay, so and Carson Cruz says, BJ still waiting on the Mitch Richmond and Jerry West logo. Okay. You guys, if you're new to the show, you notice I bring on most of the comments until I realize you're talking to each other. Then I catch on and I don't integrate them into the show, but I might do it by mistake. And if you are new to the channel, guys, welcome. Please subscribe on YouTube. I greatly appreciate it. I'm getting close. I want to hit 3,000. I want to get to 3,000 subscribers. I remember early on when I saw someone that had 3,000 subscribers, like, wow. 3,000. That's huge, And I'm teetering on it now, so it'll be really cool to get there as well. So appreciate it. Here, Slipka has a 100 lot of 1991 score Carl Dykhouse and Nelson Emerson if you need any. Yeah, Nelson Emerson played for my Winnipeg Jets back then. Jordan Riker says, if you could rip one 2021 product to add to your PC, regardless of price, what would it be? I don't even know what the 2021 products are, Jordan. I don't really follow the new wax as closely as some. So I don't know. I mean, I can't wait for Skybox Metal Universe Hockey to come out. Otherwise, I'm going to give you an answer. I love the looks of Immaculate Basketball or football. To me, that is the nicest, aesthetically speaking, I think it's you look at the RPAs in Immaculate, I think they're way nicer than those from National Treasures, just personally speaking. I think they present a lot nicer. So I'll go with that. Immaculate, basketball, maybe football. Depends. I'd have to look at the rookie class. How about you, Adam?
I didn't collect any of this stuff this year, but I did 5 years ago when it first came out. That was Eminence basketball. This year it was, when it first came out, it was way too crazy expensive. But this year, like mere mortals couldn't buy Eminence basketball this year. So I didn't even do any singles, but I'd love to open a case of that stuff. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, there's so many options out there, right? And that's the nice thing. Even with a single licensee era, there's still so many options to choose from aesthetics wise. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, just the way it is, the nicer the cards, the more expensive they seem to be. But there are exceptions to that for sure. I feel when I say I like Immaculate better than NT. So Carson says, are there any big rookies in 2021 hockey? We have tons of retail boxes on the shelves in Arkansas. I mean, you know what? Nothing huge right now. I got to think, like, you've got Kaprizov in Minnesota. You've got Tim Stutzel in Ottawa. You've got Lafreniere on the New York Rangers. Carvin says, yeah, Kaprizov in Series 2. He's a 23-year-old rookie, but he seems to be the real deal. Earlier on in the season, I was saying I wouldn't be investing in him because he's a 23-year-old rookie. But the more you watch him, the more you think, if he could put in 10 years in the NHL or more, he may be a great investment. So there you go. Leave it at that. The National, Adam. Earlier on, you were saying that you like to go to one big show a year. You think you're going to get to the National this year?
In each of the last two Nationals, I did make it. The last one I didn't think I was going to make it to, and then things came together, and I went for one night, and it was amazing.
Thank you, Colin. Sorry, Adam.
So I would love to make it this year. I've had a lot of people who have encouraged me to go, specifically to be like an advocate for Basketball Card Fanatic. It's just hard to pull away, guys. It's hard to go away for a day. I know a lot of people travel for work. I don't. I make sure I'm home every night, and I see my kids every morning and every night. It's hard to go away for more than a day, but I'd still like to, especially though where we have a new baby. We've got a 1-month-old, guys. So
you must be dying to get out of there.
If my eyes look a little bit more tired than you guys are used to, you'll understand a little bit. Something about doing a magazine and running having a full-time career and having 4 kids with a baby and a wife. Like, yeah, it's pretty crazy right now, honestly. So thinking about leaving even for a day, it seems like a lot, but I do want to. Guys, the National is incredible. The thing that I worry about, Jeremy, is like, it feels like they're going to do it, right? It seems like they're going to do it. But like, you've been to National. There's so many people there. It's chaos. There's so much stuff going on. Like, are they able to really do that this year? How do they make sure that the crowds aren't just insane?
Security, man. Security, peak crowd control. You got to think they'll be ready. You have to think they're smart enough. It's not a matter of smarts. It's just a matter of seeing what's going on in the hobby. They must know. They must be able to prepare one way or another. Crowd control, concerts, political rallies. I mean, not that always works, but they're gonna have to have to just have some form of crowd control. Whether it's like police or third party security companies, whatever it is, they'll have to do it.
Are you suggesting like a limited number of tickets?
No. Well, maybe they might have to do that.
I think they have to do that. If they don't do that, like,
they can't sell 1 million tickets. I mean, there's just no room for that.
But like in the past, it's just been if you I mean the venues are always huge, right? For those of you who haven't been to a National, like, you walk in and you're going, oh my goodness, this place it's just huge, right? So if you have a location that is just so big that you don't have to worry about that. That's one thing. But I don't know. Like there's part of me that's still pretty nervous, honestly. Like I still want it to happen and I want it to be really successful, but I am nervous with how much money is out there and COVID and how popular the hobby is right now. I could just see just a disaster where we have so many people. If they don't control how many people can be in there and the location isn't really, really huge, even bigger than normal, then I don't know. Maybe I'm just worried about something that doesn't need to be worried about, though.
Well, think about this too. Let's say they do limit the amount of tickets they sell. Let's say in 2019 there was 100,000 people that came through the doors. So they say, okay, hobby's grown. We're going to sell. And, there was room for more people there. We were there. We know that. Let's say they're going to max it out at 200,000 tickets. Well, now there's going to be a whole market for scalper tickets, and you're going to see a crowd outside. Who's got tickets? Looking for tickets? Who needs tickets? Right? It's going to be like going to a sporting event. There's going to be that facet to it as well. So Colin said, or not this one, he says, say it, your wife would kill you. True. But then he says COVID control, not crowd control. So actually, I'll just leave that up. Actually, I don't think it's COVID control, because what I read was that if they're going to stage 5, and then if there's I forget the threshold that has to be met for vaccinations, but if they get there, it's going to be normal. So it's no longer COVID control. It is only going to be crowd control at the national. And you have to think, if they're one stage away from normalcy, or what it used to be in terms of crowd control or capacity, then is it really COVID control anymore? Isn't it just back to crowd control? It seems to me like it's just back to crowd control at that point. But time will tell. These things are moving around. It's a moving target, right? There could be another wave, who knows? But with herd immunity and vaccinations, maybe we get there. Maybe we do. So time will tell. Carvin says, love Immaculate Collection, a tribute to Madonna. Well, Carv, I know you love it. You named it, and I love it. So I think it's a beautiful product. I don't have a single card in my collection from Immaculate, but if I ever get one, I'll let you know. And yeah, it's something that I really do like.
Hey, Jeremy, can I interrupt real quick and just give Carvin a shout out?
No, he gets enough of them. I'm kidding. Go for it.
So real quick, this is it's still in its sleeve that it comes in the mail, but this is the most recent issue of Basketball Card Fanatic, and the big interview this month is I was really lucky to be able to talk with Carvin. Carvin, we're lucky that we have people like Carvin, specifically that we have Carvin who can opine on so many things, talk about things that are going on in the hobby, and talk about things that have gone on in the hobby. He's a wealth of knowledge, and he's so approachable. And I know a lot of us have gotten the chance to talk to him, but what I was really excited to talk to him about was specifically his, specifically some of the individual projects that he worked on and things that ways that he felt about it. And so Carvin can corroborate this. I think we talked for like an hour and a half or 2 hours, and neither one of us could shut up. We're both just like going back and forth on things. I got to tell you guys, when we were done, the initial interview was like 20-something pages, which is the whole length of the magazine, or at least a good portion of it. And so obviously we couldn't publish the whole thing, but we cut it down and tried to include just the best stuff. He's just awesome. And his perspective is incredible, and he's a straight shooter. He'll tell you exactly what he thinks. It's funny, like I asked him one of the questions about his favorite years of Exquisite. And he told me, he's like, yeah, I don't really like that set as much as this other set. And I just thought that's so cool, because he was, at least partially responsible for both of those sets. And I think directly responsible for both of them. So, this is probably, my quick second to just say, I think that the magazine, with people like Carvin, the magazine gives us access to them in a way that like is similar to what Jeremy does here, but it's nice to have it in that printed format and to just have the real highlights from those interviews. The magazine teaches and it informs, and it's a voice of collectors and really smart people like Carvin. And something like this, I hope Carvin feels proud of this. It's the magazine's the sort of quality that you wouldn't mind putting on your coffee table and having somebody come over and say, hey, what's that? And sort of glance through it. And it was a pleasure for me to interview him, because, as you know, Jeremy, he's just an incredible wealth of knowledge.
For sure, man. And not only is he a wealth of knowledge? But he's very generous with his information. I spend a lot of time on, not as much the last couple of weeks as before, but on the Clubhouse app, and Carvin is on there quite a bit as well. So we're often in the same room, talking to each other and talking with each other and to the rest of the people that are in the Clubhouse room. And he's literally on there for, feels like, I know he works from home, and he works all hours of night. He services the Asian region. So he's on there pretty late, and he's on there fielding question after question, providing clarification after clarification to people. But like you said, he tells it like it is because he has the knowledge, the industry insider experience, where if someone, says something that, how people on the hobby are, we like to think we have all the answers to all the problems, and really we have none of them because we are working with incomplete information. And he has a lot more of that information. So he can round out the context for people. And he does it on Clubhouse and in your magazine. And when he's on my show, does it a lot all the time. So he's there sharing this experience, which is, on whatever media it is, whatever platform it is, again, the magazine, a live stream, or Clubhouse. Yeah, it's great. Okay, great shout outs to Carvin, obviously a pillar of the hobby. And as Bless and Break says right here, Carvin should be a mega millionaire for creating Exquisite, the Cup, Immaculate, etc. So yes, I agreed with that.
Can you imagine, Jeremy, if we figured out what the market cap of all of Carvin's creations? It's like, it's in the hundreds of millions of dollars.
Now it is.
Easily. Maybe it might be I don't think it's in the billions. Maybe. It's definitely hundreds of millions though. It's crazy.
Yeah. Now, and then not to take anything away from him, but he was part of a team. He led a team. He was part, but there's, again, not taking anything away from Carvin, but I just know from even the company I work for, I'm just one. We're all one cog in these machines. Yeah. We all play a role. And one of the best things I've ever heard, I've had some excellent mentors in my life. And one of them said to me, when I'm going up the elevator to my office, doesn't matter who's in the elevator with me. And this is like a leader of the company, maybe say the CEO. This guy wasn't CEO, but he was C-suite. Okay. And he says to me, it doesn't matter if it's the chairman of the board or it's the person that cleans up the boardrooms after meetings. I treat them all with respect and dignity because everyone is there doing their job and is a part of the team. I just say that because it's just a good energy to put out there.
Yeah.
So I'll share that. Colin says that not everyone is going to trust it. The next national will be the big one. Now that's a great point, right? Not everyone's going to trust it, but at the same time, Colin, so many people are just going to do it anyway. They're going to go and they're going to be mask off in there. Some will be mask on, some will be mask off. They'll have no problem filling up that hall. There's enough people that will trust it or will take the leap of faith.
For sure.
But the next one, will it be the big one? It's going to be big too. I think we got a couple big ones coming. Jordan says, to both of us, would you expect your experience at the National to be very different than in the past since your hobby popularity has grown significantly since 2019, Beatles Mania? Okay, first let's trade let's swap out the word popularity because we all not everybody agrees with everything we say and not everybody loves us and all that. Not everybody likes us and all that stuff, but hobby recognition, I think, like we're more recognizable now because our faces are out there. Yes, I certainly expect my experience at the National to be very different because of this. Yeah, 100% I do, because I know more people through this experience and even more people are familiar with me. And I certainly expect people to come up to me and say hi. I see it on other people. I see it when other content creators go to card shows in the last couple months here, and you see people coming up to them saying, hey, I love your podcast. I love your content. I get that in private messages all the time. I certainly, not like I don't feel I'm entitled to it, but I certainly expect it's going to happen. So it's going to be enjoyable and fun. I mean, I'm not going to deny that. It's going to be enjoyable for people that tell me they like what I'm doing. Who doesn't want to hear that? So I certainly do expect that. Jordan, how about you, Adam?
I think this is a really thoughtful question by Jordan. Jordan's a really smart guy. and I'm glad he's here. I have had a few instances where, because I think about myself just being like a hobby guy, right? Like just a card collector in the hobby. And then there will be like these moments that happen. I'll tell you one that was kind of crazy, Jeremy. Is a couple of years ago I was working on preparing our audit. I'm a controller at a private equity firm in Salt Lake City, and the guy who was on the audit, he took care of the tax side of the audit. He goes, "Hey, I've got a funny question to ask you. Are you the 27 guy?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, like I've listened to your podcast for a long time, and like I've read your stuff forever, and I just want to let you know." And he's like telling me about all these things that I've said and I've thought, and I was like, "Oh, this is happening in like real life. This isn't something that's happening just through cardboard. Like it's not just." And so that was cool. I've had very few of those experiences, but even the last national was a little bit staggering because you don't think about it. Like you're just a card guy, and then you're suddenly in a place where there's a lot of people who are looking at you and they recognize you and they know who you are. And Jordan's right. Like in the last couple of years between, especially Jeremy, especially for you, man, like you've been on this show with so many people and you've been watched by, way more than your 3,000 subscribers. You've been watched by tons and tons of people and, tens of thousands of people, and a lot of them are going to recognize you. And I think it's going to make it hard for you because you can't just go like buy something. You can't just go talk to everybody. I remember I had a couple of friends at the last national where I could see them dealing with it even more than, way more than me. And it's different. Here's something. If you go and you like walk up to a table and you're like, "Hey, I'm interested in that thing." If somebody knows you are an influencer and that you're interested in something, why are they going to want to sell it to you? Because now they have information and they know that maybe because you're interested in it, that there's a reason why. And suddenly that, influencer sort of status that has now negatively affected whether you can buy a card in some places. In some places, it actually helps you buy the card cheaper because people are like, "I want to sell the card to Jeremy. Like, I know Jeremy. This is cool. What if I could sell him a card?" It's different, and you'll spend a lot more of your time talking to people, but you won't necessarily want to be talking to people the whole time. Maybe it's a smaller group of people. It's hard and it's different.
Yeah. I never really thought of that. I mean, maybe I need to wear a disguise. I don't think so. There are content creators that have a much higher profile than I do out there. And you see Sasha T, a very well-known content creator. He's out there. He buys at 70%, no problem, but bulk wise. So maybe I just got to say, well, I just want the Sasha T deal. I just want the 70% deal. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm definitely going to want to buy some cards, look around, look at showcases, and if people tap me on the shoulder and say, "Hey, Jeremy, I'm blah blah, like your show," whatever they say, that's gonna be awesome too. I'm gonna enjoy meeting people. I love meeting people, so I'll be okay with it. I think. I hope. I mean, yeah, it'll be fine. I'm not too concerned. I'll take it as it comes, just like I've done everything else that's gotten that I've been doing through with this show. But time will, I guess we'll see, man. I just hope that I'm able to get there. I really want to.
For our benefit, though, I would love if you would explain what that's like on the show. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it won't be. You see some of these people who have, like you said, much larger followings, and they still are able to go to shows and do that sort of thing. It's just, to me, it did feel different in last show than it did the one before, and I would guess that it's weird.
When at the last show, I saw you, and I was like, hey, that's the real 27 guy. He's got 2,000 followers on Instagram. He does the top 100. He's this, he's that. I was happy to meet you. Same with Rodman Martinez. Same with Josh Johnson of Cardboard Chronicles. All these people were people that, I mean, Rodman was a bit different because his profile to me was a little bit, it wasn't as out there, but he was still somebody that I was like super excited to meet, where Josh had Cardboard Chronicles, which I was watching. So I was like, oh, that's I know who that. I know that. I recognize that guy. That's Josh. Oh, maybe I'll go say hello. Maybe I won't. That kind of thing, you know. So yeah, I guess we'll see. But for me, last one, it was like I was excited to meet you because you at that time your profile was a lot smaller than it is now, smaller than mine is now. So if that's a sign, I guess, yeah, maybe I'm in for something I'm not expecting. But
so now, so take that and multiply that by like 10. Like it's a thing, and it's we've probably belabored this topic too much, and it's probably my fault, and I apologize. But we don't need to sit here and say, look at us, we're famous. But like, there is a real, like, you will go to the show, Jeremy, and you will have people talking to you every 2 minutes who know you and recognize you. And even if they're not talking to you, a lot of them are looking at you as you walk by. It's the same thing for I mean, to a lesser extent, right? It's the same thing for somebody like Ken Golden, or, you know, somebody like Brent at PWCC, or, you know, like Brian Gray. You think Brian Gray goes to a show and doesn't have a million people walk up to him? Like,
yeah.
And it's fun though. It's what makes it great, but you don't get to spend time with everybody the way you'd want to, or with the cards as much as you want to, because the national is already overwhelming enough that you add that element to it, and it gets even harder.
Yeah. Okay, let's go through some comments. Carvin says, kudos to the team, Adam. It was fun for me too to do the article. Very awesome. Angie, welcome back, says, any Montreal Canadiens worth to collect, like Carey Price, Nick Suzuki? By the way, great show. Thank you, Angie. I mean, Cole Caulfield, rookie for the Montreal Canadiens, started late in the season, no cards yet, but scored a couple goals, a game winner in overtime. I think, you know, he's a high-end prospect, early draft pick. I think Cole Caulfield's a good guy to look at. Carey Price, I don't know. At one time he was a blue chip, now not so much. Nick Suzuki, a lot of people collect him. Go for your favorite players. I'll put it to you that way, Angie, and good luck to the Habs in the playoffs. They are my wife's favorite team. She's from there. Corey Carr asked, do people recognize you in the streets of Calgary, Jeremy? No, they do not, just if they already know me. Jordan says, thank you, Adam. Will you both be selling autographs for $20 a pop? Hey, if you want to pay me, I guess. I mean, maybe. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you guys something here very quickly, but go ahead, Adam.
Hey, while you say that, I will tell you, and Jordan, you'll laugh, I've had at least 20 people ask me, will you sign Basketball Card Fanatic before you mail it out? Which is the funniest thing ever, and I know they're totally joking, but my semi-serious response back to that is I would love to, except for I don't get the magazines before they get mailed out unless it's a late issue, right? Yeah. It goes from the printer directly to your house. And so that's one of the nice things about it, right? Like, you get it mailed to you, just like the old Beckett magazines. Like, it comes straight to your house. You get it. Got people who are getting the magazine. They don't ever open it. They just keep it in the plastic, and they're treating it like it's a yeah, which is crazy to me that they're thinking about it like it's like collectible. But anyway,
it is.
Well, I love that. That's amazing. That's not something that I ever anticipated, but I think there are at least I know of at least 3 or 4 people at this point who say, "Hey, I will read your digital one, but I'm keeping the printed one." Like, you sure you want to buy it? Yes, I want it. Send it to me. Can I get the old ones too? And I'm like, sorry, we didn't print some of the old ones, but yeah, the autograph thing is hilarious because no, there's no charging. It's just silly. Anyway,
well, that's why when you said you were doing some printing, I said I want one of each of them. Back to the beginning, because to me they are collectible. But what I was going to show was I had these pins done up a long time ago. I don't know if you guys can see them, but they're little Sports Cards Live pins. So I'll bring a whack of these to the National with me, and give them out or something. Figure out a way to. I paid for them, but I got like 500 of them. In my job, we have pins made for our company all the time from our vendor. So I just called up our vendor. I said, hey, will you do me like a favor and just do a small batch of these? And she did them. And again, they weren't free, but they weren't like $5 each. So, and they're pretty cool. You know, the back is just a typical pin, you know.
How many of those exist, Jeremy?
I think there's 500.
There's 500 of them? I don't have one of these. What do I have to do to get an SCL pin?
Well, anytime I send somebody a card now, like whether it was from the virtual or wherever, I throw one of these in the bubble mailer. I just include it. There's this guy started off on Instagram, a Gretzky's road trip account So he sent this Wayne Gretzky card, and he's going to track it. We keep on sending it along. So I had it. I mailed it off just like yesterday, actually, to Seattle, somebody in Seattle. And I threw 5 of them in there. And I said, keep one for yourself and pass the next 4 along. So just getting a few of them out there here and there. So anyway, what do you have to do? There has to be a reason for me to send you something versus just a pin. But I'll save you one. Don't worry.
I've got to buy a card from you, I think.
Yeah. I just need to send you something. I'll hold on. I'll hold one.
When are you gonna sell your Jordan Jambalaya?
Never, man. Never.
Do you think I could do a front of a magazine that's like an oval, like Jambalaya?
A die cut issue.
I've already thought about it. I'm like, is that possible? But I think the magazine printers will say no, and I think our designer Black Griffin Cards would kill me if I actually proposed.
Yeah, that's some constraints. Willie T asked me, will I be signing at the next Expo? No one's asking me to sign at the Expo. Colin says, go in disguise, Jared, 6'9". Yeah. I'd be, people would think I was Justin if I went at 6'9". I'm tall enough as it is. Hey, we got Sean from Victory Investments in the house. Check out his new album, Hobby Remixes.
Oh, man. This guy, can I just say, I don't know Victory Investments. He's the funniest guy. I will get his songs stuck in my head for a day, like a whole day.
And
they
are great.
I don't know how much time he puts into those things, but like it's worth it. Whatever amount of time he's putting in, I love it.
He just posted again. Adam, how do we find out more about your magazine? Well, Sean, it's on the bottom right now. Just you can just message Adam on @Basketball Card Fanatic, and he will help you subscribe. That goes for everybody. I've been streaming it here. I definitely try to help Adam out with the magazine. So if anyone's interested, just reach out to him, and he will hook you up with a subscription or one-time issue, whatever you want. He sells single issues. He sells annual subscriptions. He even sells lifetime subscriptions. How many lifetime subscribers do you have now, if you want to divulge? Well,
we don't do lifetime subscriptions. Hold on, I'm pulling up something real quick that's kind of funny that may work. It may not. But we don't sell them for the physical copy. We only sell them for the digital. But the digital, I think we've only sold like 3 or 4 of them. It's not very many. But one of them is from the Big 3 Hockey, who is one of your guys. So one of them actually came from you. I've had a number of people who reach out and they're like, hey, how much is it for a lifetime subscription? The funny thing about running a business like this is it's hard to know how to price things, right? And so I came up with this price once upon a time, and the few people who've bought it. I don't want to cheapen it for somebody else though. So I want to show. Oh, whoops! Let me show you this real quick. I set up a QR code to go to the link to buy it, and so it's kind of fun because you can just. I like QR codes. You can just scan it, like you do at restaurants right now. I thought that would be fun. Oh, here it is. I set this up the other day. So, oops. So if you scan that real quick, oh shoot, it's not going to work. The quality's nowhere near good enough. But if you scan that, you might get taken to the site and actually be able to go get the magazine. That probably.
But the site is paypal.me/basketballcard, right?
That's right. And there's a lot of people are like, why don't you do a website? You should do this. You should do that. Maybe we will at some point. But guys, it's already it's 40 pages. It's 36 pages. It's long. There's like a lot of material, and all of it needs to be designed and edited, and like it is so much work putting this thing together. To do anything else, like we're just keeping it as basic as we can right now for payments. But at some point, maybe we'll do something else. But Victory Investments, you said his name's Sean, right, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Like, thank you for asking that question because, like, I mean, if I told you guys how many hours go into this thing, like it is so time consuming to produce it, to have it designed, to contact people and to walk them through, what we want them to write about. I want everybody in the world to know about it. And then if it's your thing, if you want to read a magazine, which by the way, it is really cool getting a monthly mail day and being able to look through it. It's high quality. It's not just whatever gets sent to us, we publish. It's all very well written. It's all very interesting. And it like I said, it's high enough quality that you would put it on your coffee table and have somebody really smart come over, see the magazine, flip through it and go, oh, wow, this is really cool. Like It has indices. It has interviews with, industry leaders. It has content created by by collectors, and it's for collectors. It's not just for investors. It's for people who love cards and want to know more about it. And my favorite part of every magazine is the final article in everyone, which is why it's art. And if you want to understand why cards are art, or why a specific element of cards are art, listen to Black Griffin Cards. He comes from an art background. You'll know that immediately as you start reading it. It's very smart, and I read every one of them and just shake my head at how awesome it is. So that's my plug. I'm not good at plugging things, but
oh, you're not bad at it, man. I mean, because you're passionate about it, right?
Well, so I just look at it, Jeremy, and I go, $12 to get that every month in the mail. It's over 100 hours, over 100 man hours goes into every issue. It's just $12. I'd love for it to be free, but the amount of labor that we're putting into this thing, got to charge for it, guys. And on that note, our sponsors that are our new sponsors, we've got some new ones, and our existing ones, thank you guys for believing in us, because I want it to be big. I want it to be so big, and I want it to we're gonna be in 30 LCSs this
wow.
month. That for the most part, that's only one magazine, but we've got a few both Mealy Pops, Pull Wax. Oh gosh, there's another one that bought a bunch too that I can't think of off the top of my head. But we've got another one that we've got at least 5 that bought a bunch of issues for sale in shop. Thank you guys for being willing to believe in us, to bring them in shop. You'll see them sitting there in the shop. Support the magazine, because if you buy them from the shop, they'll reorder from us. And then, we'd love to be in every shop in the United States.
Well, man, it can only go in one direction. You keep putting this passion into it. You keep bringing the great interviews, the great articles, you keep it consistent. It's only going to go in one direction. And then eventually, hopefully, if capacity allows for it, you can expand into other sports as well. So, I mean, that's what I would put out there. So
if only we had somebody who knew hockey and had time to run Hockey Card Fanatic, Jeremy. If only we had that person.
If only.
But it's too much right now for us to continue to do everything that we're doing. So we've got a ways to go, but we're getting there.
Okay, Matt. Well, no, I love your passion for it. I do love the product. I'm a subscriber. I appreciate it, and a physical version subscriber as well. Okay, Colin Murray, more about this. People are going to want pics, graphs, the whole 9 yards. Pics are cool. Why not, right? I get that. Graphs, a little bit weird, but whatever, I guess. Colin got Bobby Burrell autograph on his book. See, that's a book, right? When you're an author, the authors are cool, right? Yeah, I get every hobby book. I have Bobby's book autographed as well. Only makes sense to me that way. Jordan says there's a Gary V card in Allen and Ginter. What would you both say if they approached you to do the same? I'm a hard yes. I mean, of course I want a real card and a real pack.
Are you kidding me?
Of course I do.
That's a dream come true, man.
Dream come true.
Carvin has one. And
yeah.
I bet you anything. Carvin looks at that card, and I know he signed a whole bunch of them. I want a Carvin autographed Allen and Ginter card, and I want a Jeremy autographed Allen and Ginter card. Absolutely.
Yeah. I would say yes to that in a heartbeat. Of course I would. That like Adam said, dream come true to have your own card, especially when you're not an athlete. So or to be an athlete, that would be even a better dream, to be a professional athlete and have a card. But in the absence of being a professional athlete, to have a card in a pack with actual athletes, dream come true for sure. Foul Fireball says Jeremy should sign and number the pins. I mean, they're pretty. Look how small it is, compared to my hand. They're pretty small. I don't know if I could sign this thing or what kind of marker, but I appreciate the idea. Alf says, hey guys, I have a Gretzky rookie 7.5 in a Beckett holder from 15 years ago. Should I send it to PSA when they finally start grading again? I don't think you need to. A Gretzky rookie in a BVG 7.5 is a pretty solid grade. I wouldn't. I don't think I would. Please, Adam, yes.
This will be the first and last hockey question that I ever opine on, because I know nothing about hockey, but I love old slabs, specifically from Beckett, because you can see the date that they were, You can see the date that they were actually graded. This is one of the questions that I asked Nat when I interviewed him for Basketball Card Fanatic a few issues ago. I was like, why don't you guys at PSA like put the dates on the slabs? Like, I want to know the date you were, you graded it. Not physically on the slab, but you should be able to go to the website. I was like, can you tell me why that's not the case? And he said, I agree with you. I wish we did that too. I'm going to need to look into it and see if that's something we can do in the future. And I was like, that's great. But your BVG 7.5, personally, just me, like, if I know that another human being hasn't touched that card in 15 years, that means more to me than if it was a grade higher or a half a grade higher or something like that. I love knowing that the world hasn't had a chance to tamper with it in the last 15 years. So no, for me, maybe it's worth more. I don't know about price or whatever, but as a collector, I want that one.
And that's the problem, is that you risk that grade going from a BVG 7.5 down to a PSA 6. I mean, who knows? Chances are it's not going to be a PSA 7.5. Chances are it'll be a 7 or lower. So there's just risk involved. So I'd leave it as is. And there's a big market still for BVG graded vintage rookies, especially Wayne Gretzky. Sean at Victory Investment says, Adam, I was sitting on my riding mower for about an hour and a half on Saturday and listening to a podcast you did months ago with Chris from House of Jordans. You talked about the magazine and I was definitely interested. So there you go. Very nice. Mickey Pascarello, welcome to the show. Alf, you are welcome. Tracy Shamer. Adam, you would look good with glasses.
Okay.
Tracy, I need you to reach out to me on Instagram and prove to me that you are really someone by the name of Tracy Shamer. I'm starting to disbelieve it.
I don't, all that matters is what my wife thinks. I probably need glasses, but because I've been looking at a computer screen nonstop for the last 20 years, probably like you have, Jeremy, I probably need glasses or contacts, but I haven't been into the old eye doctor for a long time. So,
and you have like a 4-week-old.
What's that?
And you have like a 4-week-old along with 3 other children. So you're just, I mean, it's a tired lifestyle, a full-time.
It's a tired
running
it's a tired lifestyle. But yes, I probably need glasses. There's my strange answer to Tracy's funny statement there.
And you're now on Sports Cards Live twice within 5 days. So I thank you for making yourself available for that as well tonight and on Thursday. Guys, remember this Thursday, 9 o'clock Eastern, Adam and I will be going live to cover the PWCC Premier Auction as it ends. We'll be covering the extended bidding period, looking at what's going on, watching some bids come in, talking about some of the lots, this and that. We'll have a lot of fun with a very specific kind of show that night. Joe Perot says, just no stickers, guys. No stickers. Right, I need to get a sheet of sticker autograph. We need to get sheets of the stickers that are used by athletes. Hey, Carb, can you send us some sticker sheets?
Hey, if Carbon can send me some sticker sheets, I'll just slap them all on the BCFs for now on, and that'll make people really happy.
You can send. That's what you can do. Send them to your printer.
Yeah,
and they can affix them to the card before they ship them out.
They would totally do that, and they would charge me another $1 an issue, and then I would literally make nothing on each issue. It'd be great.
But you can charge 20 more for the autograph versions.
No, I can't.
Oh, it's too funny, man. Too funny. Okay, well, hey, we're at the hour 50 mark. This has been a great time. I think we've had a great show. We kind of a couple topics we might have beat to death a little bit, but that's okay. We're allowed to do that. So, any final comments from the chat, guys? Load them in there right now if you don't mind. I'm going to throw up one more time for Basketball Card Fanatic. Just send a message to @Basketball Card Fanatic on Instagram, or you can just go to, I don't have it on the ticker right now, but paypal.me/basketballcard. paypal.me/basketballcard, and just send Adam some money for how much you're subscribing. You may as well let them know right now in case anybody wants to do it.
Awesome. So there's 2 different types of subscriptions. If you are somebody who wants it on paper, which most people do now, once they see the hard copies, I think they like that, which is too bad because we actually don't make as much money on the hard copies. But they're 3 months for $35, or 12 months for $130. If you want to just do digital, you can do 3 months for $25 or a year for $90. So grateful for all of the support, guys. It's so cool to have people really interested to get the content. I will tell you the coolest part for me is to have people reach out and to say, hey, I read one. Can I get all the old copies, or how can I subscribe to more? Or if you just try one, most people who have tried one have subscribed for the future, because it's like I say, I think it's high quality. I think you'll like it.
It is, guys. It's high quality. Check it out. If you didn't hear those prices, just rewind and listen to them again. Where to send the money if you want to subscribe, I highly recommend it. Okay, so we got Big Unit. You're welcome. Willie T. Always a fun night. Keep up the good. Thank you, Willie T. Jeremy says, get on Clubhouse. That's Jeremy Stein, a great Clubhouser. Get on Clubhouse, Adam. Thanks for the great show. I mean, you're in my, Adam, I sent you an invite a long time ago, and you're in my pending invites as already invited, not yet accepted. So feel free to accept that if the invite is still good. Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate the shirt comment. This is the Tragically Hip, one of the best rock bands ever come out of Canada. Some people don't like them. I was a fan. Probably saw them live 20 times over the years. Okay, guys, that is it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I'm going to go on to Clubhouse, see if there's anything going on there. I'm going to open up a room in the Sports Cards Live Club, but it'll be open to everybody. If you're not following the club yet, please do. And I don't know. I don't really have anything specific to talk about. So bring some topics, bring some comments, questions, whatever you want. Greatly appreciate it. I am not collecting McDavid clear-cut Tim's cards, Alf. I am not. Otherwise, guys, thanks for joining us. Next Thursday, me and Adam will be covering the PWCC Premier Auction, and then I'll be back next Saturday with back-to-back Sports Cards Live and After Hours. So, Adam, say goodbye, and everyone else, good night, and thank you for joining.
Jeremy, you're the man. Thanks for doing this.
Hang tight right there 1 second. Good night, everybody, unless we see you on Clubhouse. Have a great week.